right, fantastic. Love the energy, Nathan. But that's enough coffee for you. So now, welcome from us. My name is Christian Kletzl. I'm the CEO and co-founder of UserGems. And the person that looks exactly like me is my identical twin brother and co-founder and CTO, Stephan. Both listen to both names, so if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. So we are at a tipping point for AI in go-to-market. In 2025, it was mostly bolted on to existing SaaS solutions. It was like writing assistants. In go-to-market specifically, it was a bit more like spray and pray V2, where we were increasing the quantity, but not necessarily the quality. That certainly has changed in 2026, where everyone's using Cowork, everyone's using Codex, so everyone's familiar and has the skill for AI. And it's also in many of our products to identify bespoke accounts, to prioritize accounts, to write the emails, to run the ABM. But what's really important is that now we are setting the foundation for the future. And the future is very clearly an autonomous go-to-market, where we as humans set the strategy and the guardrails, but AI executes against it. It executes the campaigns, it even creates all the campaigns that we need. And yet, only 7% of go-to-market teams report clear ROI from AI. And McKinsey found that 95% of AI initiatives in enterprise failed. And the reason for this is that AI in go-to-market is fundamentally different than AI in any other vertical. In any other vertical, like for example in coding, where we've seen a lot of success, or in legal, all you need is your own internal information, like the code database or the contract. In go-to-market, you need your own internal information that's dispersed across many different systems, but you also need ever-changing external data. And so talking to a lot of companies and like the issues or the problems they're seeing, we keep hearing the same three things. So the first one is this, what we talked about, where we are using AI to scale the activity, but not the quality. That's where AI needs to come in and help us actually improve the type of data, the type of signal that we're actioning on. The second one is that everyone's now using AI, but very much siloed. We have sales reps with really good prompts, but they're not being shared across the team. Or the teams are not working off of the same foundation of data. And the last one is that we're using AI a lot, but right now it's not learning from what works and what doesn't. We need the feedback loop. That's where the word context comes in, where we need to understand what led to a successful outcome and what didn't. And the good thing is that there are people that solved all three, and we're going to hear from them later today. The reason we're experiencing these issues is the existing go-to-market tech stack that until now, for like a decade, consisted of a system of record that stores the information and a system of action that then actions it. But in the world of AI, we need to wonder, where is the brain? And until now, the brain was all of us, every single sales rep, looking at the data and the signals that are available, trying to identify the next best action. But there's so much data now available, both internally and externally, that it's impossible for any single human to really look into everything that matters. But that's where AI shines. It's really good at looking at a lot of information, distilling it down to what's important. So what we need in the age of AI is a command center in the middle, the brain, that makes sense of it all and connects the system of record with the system of action. And with such a command center, the real goal is to create as many bespoke campaigns as possible. And with a command center, you can do this in hours and not days. And to give you an example, let's assume you just launched a new functionality and you previously lost deals because you didn't have it. You're now using a research agent to go through your closed lost notes, through the call transcripts, to figure out which companies talked about that functionality, which triggers the signal to go after them. For these accounts, you then want to enrich and discover the accounts to go after. It could be both the ones that you were already in touch with, as well as the missing buying center, the net new ones, to get the full picture, the full data layer of everything you need to know about your contacts and accounts. And then based on this, you apply the intelligence of, I want to score all of these accounts based on this one signal or all the signals I have to prioritize who to go after. Then you use AI to generate really good messaging. Because if you have signals, like previous conversations, you can mention the very things you talked about with that person. And then, because our attention span is incredibly short, we need to be everywhere, our prospects need to see us everywhere, so you need to orchestrate across both sales, for emails, for phone calls, for LinkedIn, as well as marketing for advertising. And with a command center, you can run any campaign in hours and not days or weeks. And if you have a command center, when you implement a brain in the middle that acts as the foundation, what you see is that you can double the output capacity with AI. Because, as mentioned before, so much of the brain was previously the human doing it. So we did all the manual work, like building lists, prioritizing accounts, writing emails, that there wasn't much time for actually doing the act of selling. All that changed with AI, being able to do all the manual tasks. And it not only made us more efficient, it actually improved the quality because of all the data it has access to. And the same is true for ABM, where so much of the ABM manager's time was spent on selecting the right accounts and then aligning or fighting with sales and then only executing the campaign. With AI taking care of the first two parts, I now have much more time for other campaigns. And in our case, our ABM manager now manages also custom and prospect email marketing campaigns. But companies no longer want to choose between building and buying. They want both. So the first phase with AI was experimentation. I use Claude, Copilots to be more productive. But now it's all about customization. Companies want to build on a proven platform that have data, that has signals, that has the infrastructure, but they want to create their own workflows, their own agents to execute really bespoke, highly targeted AI campaigns. Because ultimately what we all want is actually to be different, to run campaigns no one else can run because it's built on my own unique data, my own unique signals. And if you're unfamiliar with UserGems, that's exactly what we do. We are offering the AI command center for go-to-market. It consists of both the data layer that generates all the data and the signals that you need, as well as the intelligence layer to turn it into meaning. So we help you combine the first-party signals that you have with the third-party signals that we identify. We enrich and discover account and contact information at the highest quality of the market. My co-founder is maniacal about that. And we also have AI agents to help you find really bespoke signals. And then the intelligence, as I said before, with the scoring, with the buying center, the writer agent, and the orchestration. But in a future where AI needs to run autonomously, what you need is AI to also create the campaigns. And so I'm very excited today. In the customer session, we announced that we're going headless. And I'll now have Stephan talk about that.
UserGems is going headless. And what this means is that you can now tap into UserGems data and intelligence infrastructure from your Claude or your ChatGPT through the UserGems MCP. But the UserGems MCP is not just providing general company or contact information. It is designed to be the foundation for your AI agent. UserGems is like your best friend. We know you, we get you, no additional words needed. We already know which company is a customer and which company is a target account. We know your persona. We know who you reached out to and what was discussed. We know who responded and who didn't. We know how you set up your audiences and how you create your campaigns. And we track a lot of signals for and from you. And we combine all of this information together to get you the very best contact and company information. And through the UserGems MCP, you can now directly access all this information within Claude and ChatGPT. Our MCP offers two versions. For the end user, we allow you to read all the information that we have stored about your companies and your contacts. And this means you can ask questions about an account, you can ask it to find new prospects, or to draft an email that uses all the signals about a person, and also the AI messaging instructions that you've already set on UserGems. But we're not stopping here. For the admins, we also have the possibility to create campaigns directly within Claude through the UserGems MCP. And that means you have access to all the actions that you're already used to on UserGems. You can add to CRM, you can assign owners, you can add to an outreach campaign through the UserGems sequence. Running elaborate campaigns directly within Claude is very, very difficult because you need access to thousands of companies and hundreds of thousands of prospects, and you need to coordinate between several different systems, and you always want to reach out to the very best companies at this time. With the UserGems MCP, you can now create such campaigns with all your data and all your settings at the core, and with all our hundreds of small little checks that we have within our campaign, so that you know that the campaign will successfully reach out to the very best companies and contacts. Let me show you how that works. I'm now in Claude, and I've connected the UserGems MCP, and I'm going to start with the read version of the MCP. In this case, I want to reach out to Vocado, and I would like to see a summary of the account, including signals, past conversations, and any other important information. And then I would like to get some prospects that I can reach out to, and also why I should reach out to them. What it now does is it checks your UserGems account to find the company, to find the history with that company, anything that was discussed in the past. And then it checks for prospects to identify which ones were you already in touch with, which ones are the next best contacts to reach out to. And then it is preparing a company card to show you that information in a structured format. This is then, for example, how one of the cards can look like. In this case, it tells me it's a closed list from July with some additional information about contacts that I've already reached out to. It highlights I should reach out to Amy Witt, and why, because it's a closed contact from Optimizely. There's some more information about the company, why it's a closed lost, some competitors that are successful with UserGems that I should mention, some other contacts I can reach out to, some contacts I should skip, but then it highlights, okay, Amy Witt is the best one to reach out to. I want to contact Amy Witt, please draft an email. So now, based on that information, I want an email that I can then, for example, just copy into my emailing program. Here, it uses all the information it has about Amy, all the signals, as well as all the signals about Vocado, and then drafts a message that is based on the general AI instructions that you have already set on UserGems. It highlights that Amy already knows UserGems from Optimizely and that it will use that information in the messaging. And then it's like bringing UserGems back into the picture at Vocado. With an email, I can then just copy-paste based on the instructions that you already have. And the best thing is, given that this lives in your Claude, you can also combine it with other MCPs that you have on Claude. You can use the UserGems information that always has the most accurate, up-to-date, and complete information about your contacts and your companies, and can use this for other actions too. And let me now also show you the second use case, the admin use case, where you can create campaigns through the MCP. In this case, I would like to create a new campaign. I want to reach out to close one-up contacts, target accounts that joined in the last 6 months. I want to add them to CRM, create AI messages, and add them to outreach. And there's a couple of things that we offer here with the help of AI. For example, it found that there's already an existing campaign. Doesn't need to create a new one because there's already one. There's 439 prospects. And it uses all my default settings, add as a contact, and it uses the general AI messaging instructions. In this case, I want to adjust them a little bit. Please limit the messages to 5 per contact. So now I can directly tell it to adjust the messaging instructions for this campaign. It now directly added the messaging instructions, and it noticed that I told it I want to add it to outreach, but I didn't specify the sequence, so it showed the last 5 sequences that we've used. And I want to add it to ABX Jammy. It confirmed that it found the outreach sequence. It then already successfully created the campaign, but here's something else it can then do. It can compare this sequence with your other active sequences to point out if we forgot something, if we set it up in a way that we haven't set it up before. Please do. Because we want you to be confident when you create such a campaign just through AI. In this case, I forgot the owner assignment. I'll ask it to please add the owner assignment. So it noticed that we usually also add a contact owner assignment. In this case, I'm now asking it to add it too. It added the owner assignment step. It summarizes the whole campaign for me again, just to be sure that everything is correct. And then I can also directly view the very same campaign on UserGems. And it also told me that it's not active yet, so I could ask it to activate it. If I now open it on UserGems, I can see the very same campaign here. And I can make any changes as I want, as if I would have created the campaign myself. There's, however, one more thing. As I showed you, you can now connect the UserGems MCP in your Claude, but you can now also connect other MCPs directly on UserGems. And that means if you have an interesting MCP, you can use that MCP, for example, in the campaigns. And I'll show you an example of how this works. In this case, for example, we want that every person that we send an email to gets a personalized gifting link, and we're going to use the Sendoso MCP for this. So what I do here is I add the research agent. I create a new one from scratch. And in this case, I've already connected the Sendoso MCP, so I can pick it here. And I then add the instructions, please create a personalized gifting link. And now when I hit save, now everybody gets a personalized gifting link. And the best thing is also that UserGems automatically sends important contact information to the MCP so that it is truly personalized. And in addition to the MCP on UserGems, I need one more slide here. But the best thing is that the functionality that I just showed you is not just accessible through our MCP. It is everything that you've seen right now, you can also do through Ask Jammy, which is our Chrome extension. If you haven't installed it, I highly recommend it because it shows you the most important UserGems information on many of your sales tools and marketing tools that you're currently using. And you can then also ask Jammy to create a campaign, ask deeper questions about what was discussed, so that UserGems is truly everywhere. Thank you.